What if I told you that the most potent fertilizer on Earth isn't sold in a plastic bag? What if I told you it is likely sitting in your fireplace right now, waiting to be swept into the trash? For 3,000 years, this gray powder was the backbone of civilization. It was known as gray gold. It built empires. It fed nations. Yet today, if you open a modern gardening book, you will see a warning printed in bold red letters: "Do not use." They tell you it is too alkaline. They tell you it will burn your roots. They tell you it is dangerous. And here's the twist: they are half right. Used raw, it is a killer, but processed correctly, using a lost technique of fermentation, it becomes a miracle. We are standing on a paradox. We spend billions of dollars on synthetic boosters while throwing away the very building blocks of life. Why was this knowledge erased? Why is the method forbidden in the modern manual? Because you cannot patent something that is free. Welcome to Ancestral Garden.
To understand the true power of this forgotten element, we must strip away the conveniences of the modern world. Rewind to the frontier of the 19th century. The nearest store is 100 miles away. The winter is brutal. In this world, waste is a death sentence. Here, the hearth was not just a source of heat, it was the engine of survival. Our ancestors understood a cycle that we have broken. They saw that when a massive hardwood tree burns, the fire strips away the heavy carbon and the smoke carries away the nitrogen. But what remains in that white dust is the indestructible soul of the tree, the minerals. Look at the periodic table. Look at the word potassium, the element essential for all flowering and fruiting life, the element that pumps water through the veins of a plant. Where does the word come from? It comes from potash, the ash collected from the pot. For the Romans, for the pioneers, and for the indigenous tribes, a pile of cold ash was not garbage, it was the currency of survival. They knew that fire didn't destroy nutrients, it concentrated them. This was the primary source of fertility for thousands of years, keeping the soil rich long before the invention of the factory.
So if this gray powder was the cornerstone of agriculture, why did it disappear? The answer lies in the middle of the 20th century. The industrial machine of the post-war era needed a new market. They took the explosives technology from the war and repurposed it for the farm. The Green Revolution arrived, not with the gray dust of the hearth, but with bags of bright blue and pink crystals. Synthetics. They sold us convenience. Why sift through messy ash when you can just pour a scoop of NPK? It was clean, it was precise, and most importantly for them, it was profitable. To sell the new, they had to demonize the old. Gardening magazines and agricultural boards began a campaign of fear. They warned that wood ash was too variable. They warned that its pH was dangerously high. They told you it would turn your soil into concrete and burn your plants to the ground. And the tragedy is they weren't lying. They just didn't tell you the whole truth. They showed you the weapon, but they hid the safety manual. They wanted you to see ash as a liability, so you would forget that it was an asset. By the turn of the millennium, the wood stove was just a heater, and the ash bucket was just waste.
But nature does not forget, and neither does science. Place this waste under the microscope, and we decode the chemistry they didn't want you to master. Wood ash is not just dirt. It is a concentrated mineral fortress. Its NPK ratio is roughly 0:1:10, loaded with calcium. It is pure potential energy. But here's the problem, and the reason so many modern gardeners fail. It is locked behind a wall of alkalinity. Fresh ash has a pH of 10 to 12. It contains lye. If you throw this directly onto a delicate root system, it acts like a match thrown into a gas tank. It chemically burns the microscopic hairs of the root. The plant goes into shock. This is why the experts told you to stop.
But the ancients had a key to unlock this fortress, a key called fermentation. When you mix wood ash with water and add a biological catalyst like acidic compost tea or the most potent source of nitrogen available to our ancestors, urine, a violent and beautiful chemical reaction begins. It is a war between acid and alkali. The organic acids in the liquid attack the caustic bases in the ash. On a molecular level, the solution erupts in chaos. As they fight, they neutralize each other. The pH drops from a dangerous 12 down to a neutral 7 or 8. But the real magic happens in the aftermath. This battle unlocks the minerals. The potassium and calcium, once trapped in hard chemical bonds, are released into the solution. They become ions. They become bioavailable. This isn't just watering your plants. This is an intravenous injection of nutrition. When you pour this fermented tea onto the soil, the roots don't have to work to break it down. It is already digested. The plant drinks the potassium instantly. The result? The internal water pressure of the plant increases. The stems harden. And because potassium is the master signal for reproduction, the plant receives an immediate command. It is time to bloom. This is not magic. It is organic chemistry executed with precision. Now you possess the theory. It is time to execute the practice. But be warned, precision is the difference between a harvest and a wasteland. First, the law of purity. Do not scrape ash from a barbecue grill filled with charcoal briquettes. They are laced with chemical igniters. Do not burn plywood, painted lumber, or gloss paper. They contain heavy metals and glues. These are poisons. You need clean, white ash from natural hardwood. This is the only base material nature accepts. Second, the catalyst. You need a vessel, plastic or ceramic, never metal, for the alkali will eat through it. Fill it with your chosen nitrogen source, a rich acidic compost tea, or for the true survivalist, diluted urine. Add the ash. The ratio must be respected, 1 part ash to 10 parts liquid. Stir it. Create a vortex. You want to oxygenate the mixture, encouraging the bacteria to wake up and begin their work. Cover it loosely. Let the gases escape. Third, the wait. Patience is a weapon. Let the mixture sit for 3 to 5 days. You are waiting for the color to darken, for the sharp smell of ammonia to vanish, replaced by the deep earthy scent of the forest floor. That is the signal. The alchemy is complete. Fourth, the dilution. This is where most fail. This concentrate is too powerful for direct contact. You must dilute it. 1 cup of the concentrate to 20 cups of water. Do not guess, measure. Apply this elixir when your plants are preparing to flower. Pour it at the base, into the soil, never on the leaves. Watch as the potassium triggers an explosion of growth that synthetic crystals can never replicate. The garden is not a grocery store. It is not a place of passive consumption. It is a place of active rebellion. By mastering the chemistry of ash, you do more than grow a tomato or a pumpkin. You reclaim a piece of lost independence. You stop outsourcing your survival to a corporation, and you take it back into your own hands. The fire warms your home. The ash feeds your soil. The soil feeds you. The cycle is closed. The paradox is resolved. Knowledge is not lost. It is just waiting for you to pick it up. Welcome back to the garden.